Love can often be a puzzle, pieced together by the moments we share and the words we exchange. But what if one day you realize that the image you're trying to complete doesn't quite resemble the picture you had in mind? Today, we're delving into the subtle yet profound ways Stoicism sheds light on understanding love, revealing the signs that might suggest your partner doesn't love you, even if everything seems perfect on the surface. Stoicism teaches us the virtue of perception and the art of indifference to externals, guiding us to see beyond mere appearances to the essence of our relationships. If you appreciate the insights and discussions we're exploring here, do me a simple, free favor. Hit the subscribe button below. And remember, every part of this video builds on the last. So try not to skip any section to fully embrace the journey we're taking today. Let's start. Sign number 1. Indifference to your needs. In Stoicism, the concept of indifference, especially in the context of relationships, serves as a profound indicator of how aligned or misaligned our emotional and practical needs are with our partners. When your partner shows indifference to what truly matters to you, it isn't just an oversight. It could very well signal a deeper lack of investment in the relationship. This realization, while unsettling, isn't meant to stir distress, but rather to empower. This Stoic principle encourages us to cultivate a sense of self-sufficiency. It doesn't advocate for emotional detachment or isolation. Instead, it promotes the development of personal resilience and autonomy. By focusing on our capacity to respond thoughtfully and proactively to indifference, we transform our personal agency into a tool for greater emotional stability and clarity. In practice, this means not spiraling into despair when faced with a partner's indifference, but instead using it as a catalyst to re-evaluate our needs and expectations within the relationship. Are we depending too heavily on our partner for our emotional fulfillment? Can we find ways to enrich our own lives independently? These questions are not about assigning blame. They're about reclaiming our power and agency. Stoicism doesn't just help us cope with indifference, it offers a strategy to thrive in spite of it. By embracing the Stoic virtues of wisdom and temperance, we learn to see the situation for what it is and make informed choices that reflect our values and needs. This approach doesn't guarantee that the indifference will change, but it ensures that our response to it is thoughtful, deliberate, and aligned with our deepest truths. Sign number 2. Lack of shared values. The presence of a significant gap in core values between you and your partner isn't just a minor hurdle. It's often indicative of deeper, more fundamental relationship issues. According to Stoic thought, such disparities should not be brushed under the carpet. Instead, they should be openly addressed, or they might compel one to reconsider the long-term viability of the relationship. Shared values are akin to the structural beams of a building. They hold up and maintain the integrity of a relationship. Wisdom in this context isn't just about knowledge or intellectual alignment, but includes the practical application of this knowledge in everyday life. Justice, another Stoic virtue, pertains not only to fairness, but also to the rightness of actions between individuals. If these foundational elements are misaligned, the stability of the relationship is called into question. Addressing these differences openly isn't just about having difficult conversations. It's about engaging in discussions that seek to bridge understanding, foster mutual growth, and realign shared paths. This is where the Stoic practice of dispassionate logic comes into play, approaching the discussion without the heat of emotion, but with the goal of truly understanding the other's viewpoints and values. However, if such discussions lead to the realization that the values gap is too wide to bridge, a Stoic might consider the practicality and benefit of continuing the relationship. This isn't a call for a swift end, but a rational assessment of whether the relationship can healthily sustain both individuals. In Stoicism, the decision to end a relationship would be based not on impulse, but on a reasoned conclusion that continuing is not conducive to the well-being and virtuous growth of both parties involved. This Stoic approach empowers individuals to take proactive steps in their relationships, promoting not just personal well-being, but also nurturing a relationship built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared virtues. Through this lens, we can see our interactions as opportunities for personal and communal development, ensuring that our relationships not only survive, but thrive on the principles of wisdom and justice. Sign number 3. Avoidance of quality time. Time together is not just a casual component of a relationship, it's the very fabric that binds two people together, allowing them to share experiences, build memories, and deepen their connection. When one partner consistently avoids spending quality time together, it might not just be a busy schedule at play, but a sign of deeper disinterest. Stoics believe in the power of presence and genuine engagement in all aspects of life, including relationships. To them, being physically and emotionally present is a form of ethical practice, a way to honor the mutual commitment and respect that underpins any meaningful relationship. If one partner often avoids spending time together, it's essential to address this behavior not through emotional confrontation, but through reasoned dialogue. This approach involves assessing the situation dispassionately, asking whether this pattern aligns with your understanding of a committed relationship, and deciding if it's something you can accept or if it fundamentally disrupts your connection. Using Stoic wisdom, one might consider the implications of this avoidance on the relationship's health. Is the avoidance a temporary result of external pressures, or is it indicative of a more significant rift in values and commitment? Stoicism teaches us to control our responses and to focus on actionable aspects. Therefore, determining whether the lack of quality time is a deal-breaker involves a clear assessment of your needs and expectations balanced against your partner's capacity and willingness to meet them. In practical terms, addressing this issue might involve setting aside time to discuss each person's needs and expectations regarding time spent together. It's about creating a space where both partners can express their needs without judgment, understanding that the goal is not to win an argument, but to enhance the relationship's quality. If the gap remains too wide, Stoicism advises us to make a reasoned decision about the future, one that respects both partners' well-being and autonomy. This could mean redefining the relationship's terms, or in some cases, acknowledging that the best path forward might involve separate journeys. Sign number 4. Lack of emotional support. In any relationship, the exchange of emotional support is not just a comfort, it's a cornerstone of intimacy and connection. When there's a noticeable lack of support, it might signal an emotional disconnect that can't be ignored. Stoics uphold the idea of emotional independence, suggesting that one should not be overly dependent on others for emotional stability. However, they equally recognize the strength that lies in supportive relationships. The Stoic perspective is about understanding that while our emotions and responses are within our control, the environment, including our interpersonal relationships, can significantly influence our inner tranquility. If you find yourself in a situation where emotional support is lacking, Stoicism advises a balanced approach. First, assess your own expectations. Are they reasonable within the context of your relationship? It's crucial to communicate clearly what you need from your partner, because assumptions often lead to misunderstandings. Stoicism teaches us the virtue of clarity and straightforwardness in expressing our needs. Moreover, it's essential to listen to your partner's perspective. Perhaps they are unaware of the support you need, Or maybe they are struggling with their own issues that limit their capacity to offer support. Here, the Stoic practice of empathy comes into play. Try to understand your partner's situation and capabilities, which can often illuminate why they might be falling short in providing the support you seek. In cases where emotional support continues to be absent despite clear communication, it's worth considering how this affects your well-being. Stoicism doesn't advocate enduring negative situations passively. Instead, it encourages thoughtful action. You might need to revisit the foundations of the relationship and either seek ways to rebuild the supportive dynamics or, if necessary, reconsider the relationship's viability for your emotional health. Sign number 5. Non-reciprocal communication. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship, serving not only to share information, but also to deepen bonds through the exchange of thoughts, feelings, and aspirations. When this communication is predominantly one-sided, with one partner rarely initiating dialogue, it may signal a lack of interest or engagement in the relationship. This imbalance can create a sense of loneliness and frustration, highlighting a critical area that needs addressing for the relationship to flourish. The Stoic approach involves first improving one's own communication skills, being clear and articulate about one's needs and expectations. It also encourages us to set clear expectations about communication within the relationship. This means having an open discussion about the frequency and depth of conversations, making it known that a healthy relationship relies on both partners actively participating and initiating dialogue. However, Stoicism also teaches us to manage our reactions to external events, including the actions of others, with a focus on what we can control. In the context of a relationship, this means accepting that we cannot force our partner to communicate more, but we can influence the environment by fostering an atmosphere where open and frequent communication is encouraged and valued. If efforts to improve dialogue and set clear expectations do not lead to a change in the communication dynamic, Stoicism advises reflecting on the relationship's overall health and sustainability. This reflection is not about assigning blame, but rather about assessing whether the relationship serves the well-being and growth of both individuals involved. By applying Stoic principles, you can approach the issue of non-reciprocal communication with both empathy and practicality, ensuring that actions taken are thoughtful, respectful, and aimed at nurturing the relationship. This balance is not only about addressing the lack of communication, but also about enhancing the quality and satisfaction of the relationship for both partners. Sign number 6. Overemphasis on physical aspects. In any meaningful relationship, the balance between physical connection and deeper emotional or intellectual engagement is crucial. A relationship that leans excessively towards the physical aspects might seem fulfilling on the surface, yet it often lacks the depth that truly enriches partnerships. Stoicism, a philosophy that values depth, meaning, and personal growth, provides a thoughtful perspective on this imbalance. Stoics teach the importance of harmony between the body and the mind, emphasizing that true connection extends beyond mere physical interaction. They would encourage you to reflect on whether your relationship nurtures your emotional and intellectual needs, as well as your physical ones. This isn't to diminish the importance of physical connection, which is undoubtedly significant, but to highlight that a well-rounded relationship should stimulate you not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. According to Stoic principles, every aspect of life, including relationships, should contribute to your personal and moral growth. If you find that your relationship is overwhelmingly physical, it might be worth exploring whether this dynamic is limiting the potential for deeper growth. Stoicism advocates for a proactive approach in seeking balance. This might involve initiating discussions about personal beliefs, aspirations, and intellectual interests, or perhaps engaging in shared activities that challenge both the mind and spirit. In doing so, you're not just passively hoping for change, you're actively cultivating a richer, more rounded partnership. Stoicism teaches us to accept things we cannot change, but also to take decisive action where we can make improvements. If after your efforts, the relationship still lacks depth, Stoicism would advise a reassessment of the relationship's alignment with your life's philosophy and goals. This approach does not guarantee that every relationship will transform into a perfect union of mind, body, and spirit. However, it ensures that you remain true to your Stoic values, seeking out or nurturing relationships that offer balance and growth. By applying these principles, you can ensure that your relationships are as enriching and fulfilling as possible in all aspects that truly matter. Sign number 7. Frequent criticism without constructiveness. In any relationship, feedback, when given constructively, serves as a powerful tool for personal and mutual growth. However, when feedback turns into frequent, unconstructive criticism, it not only hurts, but can deeply damage the foundations of trust and respect that relationships require. Stoics teach that not all criticism should be taken to heart. What matters most is not what is said, but how we interpret and respond to it. When faced with constant criticism, it is essential to discern whether these comments have merit and are intended for your growth, or if they are unfairly disparaging. This discernment is critical because it helps preserve your mental peace by not overreacting to every negative remark, but rather responding thoughtfully when necessary. Stoicism encourages us to look inward and focus on our virtues and progress, rather than being swayed by every external opinion. This introspection allows us to maintain our self-esteem by reinforcing our self-worth independent of others' judgments. Furthermore, by applying the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control, we learn to differentiate between what we can control, our actions and reactions, and what we cannot control, others' opinions and criticisms. When dealing with frequent, non-constructive criticism, Stoics would advise us to communicate openly with the critic. This involves expressing how the criticism makes you feel and requesting a change in how feedback is delivered. It's about advocating for yourself in a manner that seeks to improve the relationship rather than instigating conflict. This step is not only about defending your self-esteem, but also about helping the critic understand the impact of their words, potentially leading to more mindful and constructive exchanges in the future. If the pattern of destructive criticism continues despite attempts to address it, Stoicism would counsel a reassessment of the relationship's value to your life. Is this relationship fostering your growth and virtue, or is it detracting from your peace and progress? Sometimes, the most Stoic action is to distance oneself from sources of undue negativity to preserve one's well-being and focus on more supportive and enriching connections. By embracing these Stoic practices, you can navigate the challenges of criticism with grace and wisdom, turning potential conflicts into opportunities for personal strength and relationship improvement. This approach ensures that your self-esteem is protected and that your relationships are as constructive and positive as possible. Sign number 8. Unwillingness to resolve conflicts. Avoiding conflicts in a relationship might seem like a peaceful approach at first glance, but in reality, it can signify deeper issues. Stoicism teaches us that facing and resolving conflicts is not just necessary, but beneficial. It emphasizes the importance of addressing issues logically and calmly, striving for a resolution that respects both partners' perspectives. Stoics believe in the virtue of courage, not just in the face of physical challenges, but also when dealing with interpersonal difficulties. Avoiding conflicts is often a sign of fear of confrontation, fear of the emotions that might surface, or fear of the potential changes that resolution might bring. However, Stoicism teaches us to confront these fears by engaging in open, honest dialogues that aim to understand and resolve, rather than to win or suppress. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages us to foster an environment where both partners feel safe and valued enough to express their thoughts and feelings. This is crucial because a relationship where issues are consistently swept under the rug is one where misunderstandings and resentments can fester, potentially leading to a larger rift. The Stoic approach involves both partners actively working towards understanding each other's viewpoints and finding a common ground or solution that enhances the harmony and health of the relationship. When conflicts arise, Stoics would advise us to use reason to de-escalate tension and facilitate a constructive discussion. This involves listening actively, speaking without accusation, and focusing on the issue at hand rather than attacking the person. By applying these Stoic principles, both partners can work through conflicts in a manner that not only resolves them, but strengthens the relationship. In cases where there is a persistent unwillingness to address conflicts, it might be necessary to reassess the relationship's dynamics. Stoicism doesn't advocate for enduring negative situations passively. Rather, it teaches us to take proactive steps that align with our values and contribute to our well-being. If a relationship continuously avoids conflict resolution, it may be time to consider how this aligns with your needs for a communicative and transparent partnership. Sign number 9. Inconsistency in actions and words. In the realm of relationships, consistency between what one says and does is paramount, forming the bedrock of trust and mutual respect. Stoicism teaches us to value consistency not only as a personal ethic, but also as a crucial element of healthy relationships. When actions don't align with words, it creates confusion and erodes trust, leading to uncertainty and insecurity within the relationship. Stoics believe that integrity, in essence being true to one's word, is fundamental. When discrepancies arise between what a partner says and what they do, it's not just a minor issue. It's a significant breach of ethical conduct that Stoics would advise addressing directly. The Stoic approach to such inconsistencies is not one of passive observation, but active engagement. This means opening a dialogue about these discrepancies, seeking to understand the reasons behind them, and discussing how they affect the relationship. Addressing these issues directly serves several purposes from a Stoic perspective. First, it aligns with the Stoic ideal of living a coherent life, where one's principles directly inform one's actions. Second, it allows both partners the opportunity to clarify misunderstandings or miscommunications that might be contributing to the inconsistencies. This is crucial, as often what might seem like a lack of integrity could be a misalignment of expectations or a simple miscommunication. Moreover, seeking clarity in this way is an exercise in building a stronger, more transparent relationship. By discussing these issues openly, partners can set clearer expectations for their future interactions, thereby minimizing the potential for future discrepancies. This is not about casting blame, but fostering an environment where both partners feel heard, understood, and respected. If inconsistencies continue despite these efforts, Stoicism teaches us to reflect on the situation's nature and our response to it. Stoic wisdom would encourage one to consider whether the relationship is genuinely conducive to one's growth and well-being, or whether these continued discrepancies signify a deeper incompatibility. In this way, Stoicism not only provides tools for addressing immediate issues, but also for making broader assessments about the health and viability of the relationship based on principles of virtue and integrity. Sign number 10. Disregard for your happiness. In any relationship, the consideration of each other's happiness is fundamental, yet often we encounter situations where this basic mutual respect may not be present. When a partner shows a consistent disregard for your well-being, it isn't just a minor issue, it's a profound indicator that the relationship may not be as committed or healthy as it should be. Stoicism teaches us that while external circumstances, including the actions and attitudes of others, are not within our direct control, our responses to them are. In the context of a relationship, this means recognizing that our happiness should not be entirely dependent on another person. However, it also underscores the importance of being in relationships that respect mutual well-being and emotional health. Stoics would advise us to reflect deeply on the situation. Is this pattern of disregard an occasional oversight, or is it indicative of a deeper lack of respect and care? Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to engage in open and honest communication about our needs and expectations. It's important to convey to your partner how their actions affect your happiness, and to discuss ways they can show more consideration and support. This isn't about making demands, but about seeking a mutual understanding that promotes the well-being of both partners. If the situation does not improve, Stoicism offers a framework for evaluating the relationship's overall benefit to your life. Stoics value tranquility and personal virtue, and a relationship that consistently undermines your happiness might be contrary to these principles. In such cases, Stoicism advocates for a rational assessment of the relationship's viability, considering whether it truly contributes to your personal growth and happiness. This approach isn't about a quick judgment or response, but about a thoughtful consideration of how well the relationship aligns with the values of mutual respect and support. By applying Stoic principles, you can address issues of disregard in your relationship with wisdom and equanimity, aiming to either improve the partnership or make a decision that ultimately supports your well-being and personal virtue. In the journey of life, embracing the wisdom of Stoicism isn't just about learning how to endure, but about transforming challenges into stepping stones towards a more resilient, virtuous life. Remember, the strength of your character is shown not by a lack of challenges, but by your response to them. Thank you for joining us on this journey at Stoic Journal. If this discussion resonated with you, consider watching one of the suggested videos on your screen to continue exploring the profound insights that Stoicism can offer. Thank you for being a part of our community, where we strive not just to navigate life, but to understand and appreciate the depth of our experiences.